Hey, it's Dave Britton with Lobo Business Sales LLC. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. We hope it'll bring you some enlightenment and some knowledge base that you can use in your own entrepreneur journey. As always, we like to stay with the motto of the firm, which is keeping that entrepreneur spirit shining bright. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the podcast. But before we do, take a moment out and smash that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified of all our latest podcasts, audio versions, and also our videos on YouTube. If you're listening to this on one of the other streaming services, go ahead and subscribe so you get notified of new and exciting content that you can use in your entrepreneur journey. So in today's podcast, we're going to go ahead and talk about how to start an online business using just your phone. The 5-step easy way. You can start an online business using your phone quick and easy in today's technology world. By using the tools, tips, and ideas available to you, like a simple blog or video channel, kind of like the one you're listening to, this is a very fast way to start an online business. But can you really do this all from your phone? Answer, yeah, you can. We know that there's the different Play stores, the app stores, all types of versions. It's just about what you're actually building your product on. With so much at your fingertips through the connectivity of the internet, you have the tools needed to start, build, and grow your business online. Now, this does take work, know-how, perseverance, but you can do it, and quicker than you think. Let's go over the main topics one by one. Number one, you do not need a product or service to get started. This is a concept that kind of blows people's minds, but you really need to see the type of world we're living in right now. A lot of shifts and changes, almost to a paradigm level, has been going on. There are many fresh new entrepreneurs that daydream about making millions selling a product or service that will change the world. Although this is great, it is not the only way you can build a business online. In fact, there are several business models you can do where you have no product or service at all. The business models available today are vast. They're really only limited by the imagination. As an example, let's consider a couple of the following examples. In example one, you develop a product or service. Maybe you just thought about making new flip-flops, the best flip-flops in the world. And Lord knows we all need good flip-flops. But you develop, you design, you craft, you manufacture, all these different things. You come up with these things and you sell that product. Now this is the end-all, be-all of most businesses that are out there. And this is a century-old model. Basically, it's the model for almost everything around us. Almost everything you see, touch, or use falls into this category. From the marketing of shaving gels to calling up an Uber for a drive to your destination. This is pretty much a simple concept for most to understand. You build a product or service, you market it, you make a sale, repeat the process. Simple. Let's go to example number 2. Run a keyword-focused web page or blog, a social media account, or any other platform that generates income without the sale of a product or service. Now, what are we talking about here? This on the surface looks weird, eh? How can you generate income without a product or service? Although there are several methods, we will focus on two types: AdSense and affiliate income. Now, before we go on to step 2, I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to one of our sponsors. If you're going to do a webpage or a blog, go ahead and join the group that I use personally at Bluehost. I'm going to leave some links in the comment section. There'll be some discount codes. Feel free to join those. As a full disclosure, we get a little bit of a referral income. We thank you for the support. Number 2, you need to research your business model type you are looking to develop. There are quite a few business model types you can form when starting your business. If you're not familiar with them, you can learn more by picking up some books on Amazon or watching some YouTube videos, or even ordering a step-by-step course on the subject. One of the most common business model methods you can use without needing any products or services is AdSense. There are various ad revenue platforms out there, but the big gorilla, the big one, and the largest is by far Google AdSense. Google's whole basic business model revolves around advertising as a whole. Yes, there's other parts that are of it, but that's really where a bulk of that revenue comes in. There's two sides of it. One, you're paying for ads, and 2, you're receiving income for those ads. Google gets a piece on both sides. Boy, maybe that's a better business. But for this podcast, we're going to talk about Google AdSense. With this model, you are monetizing your content with the advertising placements via the Google AdSense platform. This is a quick and typically easy method for entrepreneurs who are looking for a business model to develop. Now, before you actually go out and put the down payment on the Ferrari or the Lamborghini, you're going to have to go ahead and be approved for AdSense before you use it. There's some barriers, but overall, they're usually easy to achieve. Research is key here, and those who take the time to learn as much as possible about the business model they're looking for will usually find the best results. There's little tips and secrets that you can use to really tweak and harness that Google AdSense to really maximize your income levels on that approach. I'll leave some links in the comment section. You can also check out some YouTube videos just to get an idea of what works for you. There are several methods you can use to start an online business, and you can also look for sponsors for your content. Let's say you're doing a video on bathrobes as an example. Take time, do a search for the top selling bathrobe companies out there. Order their product. Test it out for yourself. If you love the product, take a moment out. Reach out. Say, hey, I ordered your product. I love it. I want to tell my followers about it. Maybe even do a comparison video on it, showing that real awesome robe that I need everybody to have. That's nothing more than a sponsored content. This is one method that you can use. In this method, you're going to be targeting your content and focusing on a single product or service and sending potential customers to that venue or the sponsor's website. This allows you to run your business by simply adding content that your audience is already seeking. And you just provide them with a link to your sponsor being showcased. There are various ways to find sponsors as you start your online business, but a great way to start is just look at some videos on the subject matter you're looking for. Pretty simple. We use the robe as an example. Maybe it's skateboards, maybe it's parachutes, whatever the case. There's a lot of different researches that you can do, but the concept still remains the same. You can make money online, having a niche that you're targeting with content, maximizing that with Google AdSense, affiliate income, and sponsored income, never needing to actually work on a product or service. And this all can be done simply on your phone. Now, number 3, you can't just put out product or actually direct people to any of your sponsors. You have to have a reason that people actually come and hear you, right? That's nothing more than content. Content can be a big word. It can cover a whole host of items. But you need to add value-added content to your blog, website, or video channel that's engaging for your audience. When you look to use the model of affiliate links and sponsors, you need to bring content to the audience. The content should provide value added, it's focused, and it has keyword placement. That's the tricky part, because without the keyword placement, people won't even find your content. But you want to make sure that hopefully you're building your following as you're providing your content. This basically becomes a snowball business model. And although you might start with $1, that turns to $2, that turns to $4, $8, $16, $32, $64, you get the idea. Content can be self-run. You can spend all day writing, making videos, doing blog posts, and that's great because it comes from you. I personally like to do a lot of my own creation because I feel I have a lot to say. Now, sometimes I have too much to say, but I digress. It's just that I'm so passionate about the entrepreneur spirit, it almost is exploding through without me. I really need to get this message out to the world. As I said, your content, it can be self-run, but what happens if you're just not in that creative mindset that you can do those type of things? Can you still do this? Absolutely. You just have to outsource the content creation effort. There's several platforms that you can find freelancers and independent contractors who will work to provide you with the content. This will be for a small nominal fee. Now keep in mind, you don't want to lock in a lot of your freelancers across the board over a 20-year contract that you're going to use them forever. Test a few out. Everybody's content and their platform will be different. Some will be more on a serious note. Others may be more on a comical note. Others may be a little mix of the both. But the point that you want to work on and really try to harness in is get freelancers that mimic or are parallel to your own personality that you have or that you're trying to illustrate within your medium, whether it be a blog, videos, etc. There's several platforms you can choose from. One of the largest marketplaces for freelance providers is Fiverr.com. A lot of people know about it, and you can really see a whole host of items there. Leave some links in the comments. I'm a big proponent of it, but I offer with a word of caution. You need to not go in blindly. A lot of times what is being shown isn't what you're actually getting, but still overall it's a great place that really is a wild, wild west of entrepreneurs just getting products and services to the market. Mostly services, not a lot of products. But check those out. Leave some links in the comment. some good ideas for content creation. Really, it can be anything. Whatever works for the platform that you're using and the audience that you're catering to. If you're running out of ideas, maybe on a continual basis, just look at current events. Lord knows we have some crazy events going on this past couple of years, right? You can talk about these and maybe how they affect the niche or the marketplace that you're looking for. Current news. If you just watch the news and now you don't want to do this verbatim, you don't want to do any copyright issues, but you can actually give your narratization or your viewpoint off of current news events that are coming out. Actually, if you are listening to this podcast when it first came out, which is the beginning of February 2021, this past week, you see the blog rooms and the YouTube videos and the news all over with this little tiny company called GameStop. Now, not giving financial, legal advice. Do not take this. Please do your own homework on it. But the point I'm trying to make is something that is in the news can be swept into a whole host of items. These are things that you can do also. Maybe you have a niche in the business sector. Well, there's always changes in business strategies, business offerings during, once again, depending on when you're listening to the podcast. Currently in February 2021, when we launched this podcast, we're still dealing with the pandemic. This is obviously a once probably in a generation or multi-generation item, but there's changes that are going on in business. One of the changes here would be the CARES Act that came out. PPP programs, EIDL programs, different changes in the SBA lending. These are items that are value-added content that you can give to your listeners, give to your subscribers that can help them, that can keep that entrepreneur spirit shining bright. You can have new offerings available to your niche, spotlight events, seminars, conferences, all for your targeted market. Maybe even some comical ones. Have some fun. Do some entertainment viewpoints. It doesn't have to be serious all the time. There's too much seriousness in the world. Yes, there's times we need to be serious. There's times we need to have fun. And hopefully sometimes it's a balance in between. But overall, listen to your subscribers, listen to your customers, your clientele, your fellow people, and really do the best you can to bring out whatever message that you're trying to get out. Maybe give out key point overviews, or a very popular model is doing a product and service comparison. You'll see it here as an example. You'll see it every year. You'll see the iPhone and Android comparison. Let's face it, both of those phones are pretty amazing. And if you actually see everything that they can do, I'm one proponent myself. I can't even do everything that the phone that I have now can do. I probably couldn't even do the number 2 phone that they have, and they're already on, I think, 15 and 20 models and stuff like that. But you get the point. The list of content suggestions is virtually endless. You can craft and create anything that your audience is looking for. A good suggestion, though, is to simply ask your audience what they would like to see on your platform. You then take those comments, those suggestions, and you provide the content that your audience is seeking. Let's face it, you have a message. You have items you want to get out, and those are all important. But take a moment to hear what your audience is asking you for, and then give it to them. For beginners to seasoned pros, a good idea is to keep an open mind when it comes to content creation. Always keep reading, learning, educating, so you bring valuable content to your audience. Number 4, The key to starting an online business with your phone is knowing how to cost effectively advertise your platform. The one thing that is an absolute must in almost every business is advertising. The better you get at it, the better your results are most likely going to be. This is a simple concept. When you have great content, you need to get it in front of people who are interested in that content. But let's face facts. Nobody is going to hear a tree fall in the forest if you're not actually in the forest. That is where advertising comes in. It is the invite or that slight persuasion to get somebody to visit when you have an offer, a say, or some type of sale. Simple. Now comes the hard part. How to effectively do the advertising. Before we go to that point, we need to look at one core belief, and that is simply, what is the return on the ad cost, and is that measurable? Let me repeat that. What is the return on the ad cost, and is it measurable? If you can have a laser focus of cost versus what it brings you in, whoa, then it's just a matter of scaling that model. Let me explain. If you launched an ad campaign for, say, I don't know, $100, and it brought you in $200 of profit before the cost of the ad spend, you've effectively doubled your money. This concept is in the most simplistic form. Now, because we're in the content business, you really don't have a cost of goods. Basically the cost of the product you're selling or manufacturing, or, if it's a service base, hiring somebody to do that. The cost of goods is basically zero. Thus, your net profit, minus any minimal hosting fees, etc., it's almost pure profit. Your biggest expense is the ad cost to get the traffic to the content. Once again, simple concept. Now comes, how do you do it? Now, you can go the pay-per-click route. You can find guides on maximizing this route, simple books on Amazon, watching some YouTube videos. There's basically the same mantra. You can go the organic route too. Basically doing word of mouth, or not so much word of mouth still works now, but it's not really social circles in around, say, the water cooler on a Monday or Tuesday after Monday Night Football. I might have just given away my age on that one, but you get the idea. But what about thinking a little bit further than that? What can you do? How about doing a press release? Press releases are much bigger than people think now. Depending on your content, this might be an avenue for you. There's a whole host of places you can go. Yes, I'll leave some more links in the comments. Man, there's going to be a lot of links in those comments. Please take time to visit some of those sponsors. Once you start building a following, you can really ramp up your advertising almost to turbocharge levels with some of the social content management providers. One of the ones you might want to look at is Sprout Social. Once again, shout out. The main concept that we want to stay with here is simply focus on your advertising cost and not the dollar cost of the advertising. When you have something that's working, ramp it up, scale it up. When it doesn't produce results, cut it out quickly. So in summary, if it's working, add to it, and add to it big. If you have something that you can put $100 in ad spend and it turns back $200 in net sales or net profit, and you're doubling it, it just makes sense to go ahead and spend $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000 and double each time. But if you put $100 out and you get $20 back or $90 back, maybe you need a little tweaking on the ads, but overall it's showing that it's really not working. And heaven forbid you do that and you get zero, obviously cut your losses. When you have something's working, scale it up. When it doesn't produce results, cut it out quickly. Simple. Number 5, keep good financial records on your online business. You need to know exactly how much you're making and how much you're spending that generates that profit. This seems so simple, but there's so many people who skip the quote unquote back office and they just go ahead and wing it. That's not the way to do business, no matter what it is. Don't do that. Know your numbers. I think we've all at one time probably watched an episode with Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank. And Mr. Wonderful or Mr. Cuban, if you're listening to this podcast, first of all, thank you. You're awesome. And go ahead and share with your followers. I would love to have a quick 13 million followers in one click. But seriously, thank you for keeping the entrepreneur spirit shining bright. One of the concepts they always harp on there, know your numbers. Know your numbers. Know your numbers. Simple. If you're outsourcing your content creation, you need to know what the content cost is. This is not just, I paid X amount to make a content. You need to know I paid X amount. It took so many days, because it's not just money involved, there's time involved too. It goes into a different whole host, and that goes a lot into our business forecasting models and stuff like that. I'll do another podcast and video at a future date. But what I'm trying to emphasize here, you need to know those costs. At the very, very basic level, know how much you're spending for it. If you're running advertising, you have to know how much you're spending per click and on your campaigns. You need to know your hosting fees, your monthly expenses fees. You need to know everything. Better yet, you need to keep good records of your financials. This will help you not only know where you're going during any given time, but it's also going to make it easier when you have to show your financials to your accountant for tax time, or partners, or investors, or bankers. Or let's say you scale the business so big that it actually is a huge income generating stream that everybody wants. It really is a business. Guess who else is going to want to see those? A future buyer. To start, you can just start using a simple Excel spreadsheet, Google Sheets, whatever. Even a simple ruler book from a dime, 5 and dime store will work. But just don't keep the numbers in your head. Write them down someplace. But if you really, really want to run your content business like a business, you're going to need a professional solution. On the very high-end scale, you can use some of the accounting software, like a Xero software or something like that. But most people starting out, there's different ones that you can Google different searches, or you can use something as simple as a QuickBooks. Once again, I'll leave some links in the description. In summary, you don't need a product or service to get started. Research the business model type you want to go with. Add content to your blog, website, channel, whatever medium you're using. Advertise and scale the winning ads, and keep financial records to know where your money is spent, and so are your profits, and hopefully not losses. I hope this brought you some value added, some ideas, or just opened your mind a little bit. Once again, if you'd like to learn some tips, ideas more, or maybe just chuckle and relax as we talk about keeping that entrepreneur spirit shining bright, please subscribe, hit the bell, tell some friends, give us a thumbs up, share us on social media, and if we can be of any help to you in the future, whether it's starting, buying, selling, growing, or just need a little bit of positive motivation, give us a shout out. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. This is Dave Britton with Lobo Business Sales LLC. Have a fantastic day.